Wrath of the Cosmic Tyrant. Chapter 1. The Storm Awakens. The cosmos trembled. Lightning danced across the shattered remains of Azrime, a celestial outpost that had stood for 10,000 years. Now it lay in ruins, its great halls shattered, its guardians fallen. Smoke and ash mixed with the ether, swirling in the airless void like the dying breath of a forgotten god. And from the heart of the devastation, Ragnir the Stormforged rose. His glowing electric blue eyes burned with righteous fury. His crimson and black Asgardian battle armor, scarred from wars untold, shimmered under the flickering lights of dying stars. Over his shoulder, a wolf pelt cape billowed, snapping violently in the celestial winds. In his hand, he held Morthon, his divine warhammer, forged in the heart of a collapsed sun by the celestial smiths. The weapon pulsed with arcs of living stormfire, eager for vengeance. Above him, the Leviathan-class warship Nexus Eternal hovered like a predator in the dark. Its jagged hull, constructed from the bones of conquered worlds, pulsed with violet cosmic energy. Its master stood upon its prow, a towering figure clad in obsidian black battle armor laced with platinum etchings, his four glowing white eyes surveying the destruction below with the calm of a god who had seen the fall of empires. Emperor Vyrex, the Cosmic Tyrant, the Breaker of Realms, the Devourer of Stars. "You stand alone, Stormforged," Vyrex's voice boomed, the sheer weight of his presence distorting the space around him. "Your kingdom is fallen. Azrime is no more. Surrender, and I may let you serve me in the new order." Ragnir's grip tightened around Jorthan. "You will not find me as pliant as the worlds you have conquered, filth." Vyrex smiled. "Then you will be the first to fall." He raised his gauntleted hand, and from the darkness, a legion of horrors emerged. The Dread Host, Vyrex's personal vanguard, creatures harvested from the remains of fallen worlds, mutated and reforged in his dark foundries. Their glowing violet eyes burned with soulless hunger. Monstrous warbringers, their bodies a fusion of metal and flesh, bristling with plasma-forged blades and energy cannons. They descended upon Ragnir, weapons raised, fangs bared, eager to consume a god. With a deafening battle cry, Ragnir leapt into their midst, Mjorthan crackling with the fury of 1,000 tempests. The first foe, a six-armed behemoth clad in plasma-forged armor, swung a massive battle axe, its edge glowing with cosmic fire. Ragnir ducked, the axe slicing through the air inches from his head. With a swift counterstrike, he brought Mjorthan crashing against the creature's chest. Lightning erupted on impact, obliterating the monstrosity in a flash of divine fury. More came, dozens, hundreds. Ragnir fought like a force of nature incarnate. Mjorthan shattered skulls, sundered armor, and reduced entire squads of Vyrex's horrors to smoldering husks. The battlefield became a storm of divine wrath. Arcs of lightning searing the heavens as the Stormforged unleashed his full fury. Yet for every foe he felled, more took their place. The air became thick with the stench of burning flesh and the crackle of ruptured energy cores. Even for a god, the numbers were overwhelming. Then came the final blow. From above, Vyrex descended. The Cosmic Tyrant moved with impossible speed for one so massive. His energy-infused gauntlet struck Ragnir square in the chest, sending him hurtling through the wreckage of Azrime. Stone and metal shattered like glass as Ragnir crashed through a once mighty temple, finally colliding with the base of a crumbling spire. Pain lanced through his body. Blood, divine and electric, trickled down his forehead. He tried to rise, but Vyrex was already there, standing over him like an executioner. "You are powerful, Stormforged," Vyrex mused, his four white eyes studying him with detached curiosity. But even gods kneel before inevitability. He raised his hand, violet energy swirling into a vortex of destruction, ready to consume Ragnir entirely. The Stormforged gritted his teeth, bracing for the final blow. But then, a sudden, blinding flash of crimson light. The air rippled, and space itself tore open. From the portal stepped a tall, imposing figure clad in a dark, futuristic armored suit, lined with glowing silver tribal markings. His feline-like emerald eyes shimmered behind a panther-shaped helmet. Panthera, the guardian of the hidden kingdom. Beside him, another figure materialized in a blur of shadows. A lean, muscular warrior dressed in a black tactical suit, silver claws gleaming in the dim light. His amber eyes burned with predatory intensity. Shadewolf, the ferocious mutant, and standing at the center, floating above the battlefield, his long crimson cloak billowing, was a man wreathed in crackling golden sigils, his deep violet eyes glowing with arcane power. Vortex, master of the arcane. The battle was far from over. It had only just begun. Chapter 2: Gods and Warlords. The heavens burned. Lightning crackled across the battlefield, illuminating the cosmic carnage in stark flashes of blue and crimson. The ruins of Azrime, once a proud celestial outpost, lay in rubble beneath the towering form of Emperor Vyrex, the tyrant of the dying stars. And before him, Ragnir the Stormforged rose once more. The impact of Vyrex's previous attack had left Ragnir's armor scorched, his godly form bleeding luminous ichor. But he did not fall. He would never fall. And now, he was not alone. Panthera, guardian of the hidden kingdom. Shadewolf, the ferocious mutant. Vortex, master of the arcane. Three of the universe's most formidable warriors had arrived through a rip in space-time, standing between Ragnir and certain doom. Their presence sent a ripple of power across the battlefield, and even Vyrex took pause. Vortex descended first, his violet eyes burning with celestial fire. He extended his arms, and golden arcane sigils manifested in the air, pulsing with raw power. Vortex, Ragnir grunted, wiping divine blood from his lip. What pit of madness have you stepped from this time? Vortex smirked. Oh, you know me, Stormforged. I never miss a good apocalypse. Shadewolf flexed his adamantine claws, his amber eyes glowing in the flickering light. Less talk, more slaughter. Panthera, regal and unreadable, simply nodded at Ragnir before turning his feline gaze toward Vyrex. Your warpath ends today, tyrant, he declared. Vyrex laughed, his four glowing eyes narrowing. I was expecting resistance, but this is amusing. With a snap of his fingers, Vyrex's dread host surged forward, an army of cybernetic horrors, mindless warriors forged in the fires of his conquest. Giant warbringers, bristling with plasma cannons, multi-limbed assassins, blades humming with dark energy. Titanic berserkers, their bodies stitched together from the flesh of conquered worlds. And leading them, Vyrex's deadliest lieutenants, a figure cloaked in writhing shadows, wielding a cursed katana dripping with ethereal blood. His crimson eyes burned with eternal hunger. Bloodworm, the Serpent King of Shadows, a colossal juggernaut, his cybernetic body bristling with weaponized enhancements. His armor, thick as a battleship's hull, bore the scars of 1,000 campaigns. His mechanical fist clenched and energy surged around it. General Hellborn, the unstoppable warlord, and standing in the midst of them, her sleek black battlesuit reflecting the dying light, was a figure whose red cybernetic visor pulsed like a hunter's crosshair. She twirled her plasma daggers with calculated grace, an assassin bred for perfection. Venatrix, the cybernetic huntress. You should have run, Venatrix whispered. Now you die screaming." The battlefield erupted into chaos. The war of gods and monsters. Ragnir charged first, Mjorthan roaring with celestial fury. He swung his hammer with godly might, sending a titanic shockwave through the ranks of the dread host. Soldiers were incinerated instantly, their bodies vaporized in the explosion of lightning. Shadewolf vanished into the fray, his claws a blur of adamantine destruction. He tore through a group of cybernetic assassins, their metallic limbs falling like severed vines. He dodged plasma blasts with inhuman agility, rolling through the wreckage before eviscerating a warbringer in one clean strike. Panthera faced General Hellborn, his emerald eyes locked on the juggernaut. The two warriors collided with cataclysmic force, their blows shattering the very ground beneath them. Panthera's speed was blinding, his strikes calculated. But Hellborn's unyielding mass absorbed the attacks, his cybernetic gauntlets absorbing kinetic force and redirecting it back. "You fight like a cub," Hellborn sneered. Panthera bared his fangs. "Then let me show you the claws of a king." He slammed his armored fist into the ground, activating his vibrational force generators. The shockwave ripped through the battlefield, sending Hellborn staggering as Panthera lunged with a devastating aerial strike. Meanwhile, Vortex faced Venatrix. The cybernetic huntress launched a flurry of plasma dagger strikes, her enhanced reflexes making her a blur of motion. But Vortex twirled his fingers, and a golden arcane barrier materialized, absorbing the impact. "Impressive," Venatrix purred. "But magic can be broken." She activated her neural disruptors, sending a pulse of reality-warping interference through the air. Vortex staggered, his mind momentarily flooded with static. That was all she needed. Venatrix vanished, then reappeared behind him, her plasma dagger arcing toward his throat. But Vortex wasn't done yet. At the last second, his sigils shifted, warping the air around him. Suddenly, Venatrix's attack reversed. The momentum flung her backward, sending her crashing into the wreckage of a fallen warbringer. Vortex wiped a trickle of blood from his lip. "You'll have to do better than that, darling." Ragnir vs. Emperor Vyrex. Above the battlefield, Ragnir and Vyrex clashed like warring gods. Every strike of Mjorthan sent torrents of lightning crashing through the skies, but Vyrex absorbed the storm, his cosmic gauntlets channeling its power into his own attacks. "You fight like a relic, Stormforged," Vyrex taunted, catching Ragnir's hammer mid-swing. "I am beyond gods. I am evolution." Vyrex's fist slammed into Ragnir's ribs, sending him spiraling backward. The Stormforged landed hard, but as Vyrex approached to finish him, Ragnir extended his palm, summoning Mjorthan with a surge of divine fury. The hammer rocketed into Vyrex's side, the impact sending the tyrant hurtling through a collapsed citadel. Ragnir grinned, wiping his chin. "Looks like evolution still bleeds." Vyrex rose from the rubble, his four eyes flashing with rage. "This is far from over," he snarled. Suddenly the skies split apart. A massive rift tore through the battlefield, revealing a black void beyond comprehension. A figure stepped forth, her presence warping reality itself. Her porcelain-white skin glowed with malevolent energy, her violet eyes reflecting the abyss. "Ravenna Nocturne, Queen of the Abyss." Vyrex smirked. "Ah, reinforcements." The battle had only just begun. Chapter 3. The Abyss Rises. A tear in reality. The battlefield of Azraim stood on the brink of annihilation. The storm raged in full force, divine lightning clashing against cosmic power, blades tearing through armor, and spells warping reality itself. But then, reality fractured. A great black rift spread across the sky, pulsing with dark energy. The temperature plunged. The air crackled with static, and the very stars above seemed to distort as an unnatural force entered the fray. Through the rift stepped Ravenna Nocturne, the queen of the abyss. She was breathtaking and terrifying all at once. Her porcelain white skin shimmered with eldritch energy. Her flowing black hair moved as though caught in an unseen tide, and her violet eyes burned with an abyssal hunger. Her dark purple and silver robes pulsed with a reality-warping aura, their shimmering fabric folding in and out of existence, as if her very presence bent the laws of the universe. The battlefield fell silent. Even the monstrous dread host hesitated in her presence. "How wonderful," she murmured, her voice like silk laced with poison. "A battlefield worthy of my attention." Ragnir, still locked in combat with Emperor Vyrex, took a step back, Morthen humming with warning in his grasp. His electric blue eyes narrowed. "What twisted void have you crawled from, witch?" Ravenna smiled, tilting her head. "Oh, Stormforged, the void did not birth me, it fears me." She raised her hand, and reality shattered around her fingers. The air twisted into a vortex of shadow and flame, and from the darkness spectral wraiths emerged, their withered forms screeching with the agony of the damned. They lunged toward Ragnir and his allies like a tide of despair. The true war had begun. The Stormforged versus the Abyss. Ragnir reacted instantly. With a roar that shook the heavens, he hurled Njorthen directly at the incoming wraiths. The hammer spun like a comet, crackling with blue lightning, and upon impact, a shockwave of divine energy obliterated the spectral horrors in an instant. But more came. Dozens. Hundreds. The battlefield became a nightmare, flickering in and out of reality as Ravenna's abyssal power tore through existence itself. Vortex, master of the arcane, moved with urgency. His golden sigils flared as he conjured intricate spells to counteract the abyssal energies. But even he, one of the greatest sorcerers of the cosmos, was struggling to contain the rift Ravenna had unleashed. Shadewolf fought like a savage beast, his adamantine claws ripping through the shadow creatures. But every time he slashed one down, another rose from its remains. Panthera engaged General Hellborn once more, the two titanic warriors exchanging blows so powerful that the ground fractured beneath them. But Hellborn had adapted, his cybernetic enhancements absorbing kinetic energy, making him stronger with every strike. "You cannot win, Panther King," Hellborn sneered, his red eyes glowing. "I am unbreakable." Panthera smirked, revealing sharp canines. "So is my resolve." With blinding speed, he feigned a high strike, but at the last second shifted his momentum, delivering a crushing blow to Hellborn's knee joint. The cybernetic titan staggered, giving Panthera an opening. With one powerful leap, he drove his vibrational claws into Hellborn's chest, sending a pulse of kinetic energy through his armor, the sheer force of it shattering the Warlords' internal systems. Hellborn collapsed, his massive form twitching with sparks and ruptured energy conduits. One enemy down, but the true threat remained. Ragnir vs. Ravenna. Ragnir charged toward Ravenna, his thunderous strides sending cracks through the battlefield. With a flick of her wrist, Ravenna twisted space itself, forcing Ragnir to fall through an infinite void. But before he could be lost, he summoned Njorthen back to his grip, its divine power disrupting the spell. She frowned. "Clever boy," she gestured, and suddenly Ragnir was surrounded by a collapsing dimension, his own body fragmenting across 1,000 timelines. His past, his future, his failures, his victories. They all existed at once, pressing against him, threatening to unmake his very existence. But Ragnir was no mortal to be toyed with. His godly will surged, and Mjorthan erupted with a cosmic storm, tearing through the illusion with sheer divine force. Ravenna's eyes widened as Ragnir broke free of her abyssal grasp. "You play with forces beyond your control," Ragnir growled, "and now you will face the wrath of the storm." He swung Mjorthan downward, sending a bolt of lightning powerful enough to split planets directly at her. For the first time, Ravenna flinched. She'd barely conjured a defensive barrier, but the sheer power of the attack sent her hurtling backward, slamming into a crumbling spire. Before she could recover, Ragnir was upon her, his hammer raised for the final strike. But then Vyrex intervened. The tyrant unleashed. Emperor Vyrex moved with impossible speed, his cosmic gauntlet intercepting Mjorthan mid-swing. The impact shattered the ground beneath them, sending shockwaves rippling across the battlefield. Vyrex's 4 white eyes burned with power. "I grow tired of this," he said simply. With one motion, he unleashed a pulse of violet cosmic energy, sending everyone flying backward. Ragnir, Vortex, Panthera, Shadewolf, even Ravenna herself. The battlefield fell still as Vyrex ascended above them all, his armor pulsating with boundless energy. "The time for battle is over," he declared. "It is time you all understood what true power looks like." He raised his hands. Above him, the Nexus Eternal, his Leviathan-class warship, began to shift. Its structure expanded, revealing a doomsday weapon hidden within its depths, a cosmic cannon forged from the core of a dying star, a weapon powerful enough to erase entire galaxies. "You fought well," Vyrex said, "but now you die." The cannon began charging. The battlefield was bathed in a blinding violet light. Ragnir, still struggling to rise, looked to his allies, bloodied, broken, but not defeated. They had one chance, one final stand. And if the storm was to end this day, he would make sure it took the tyrant with it. Chapter 4. The Last Storm. The End of Worlds. The Nexus Eternal, Emperor Vyrex's Leviathan-class warship, hovered above the ruins of Azrime, its hull splitting apart to reveal the Doomsday Cannon, a weapon powered by the core of a dying star. It was a construct of pure devastation, a weapon that could erase entire galaxies. The sky was bathed in violet light as the weapon charged, its energy core spinning, consuming the very fabric of reality. Below, Ragnir the Stormforged rose to his feet, battered but unbroken. His electric blue eyes burned with fury, his warhammer, Mjorthan, crackling in his grip. Vyrex hovered above them, his 4 white eyes glowing with cosmic authority. "It is over," the tyrant declared. "You fought bravely, Stormforged, but even gods fall before inevitability." Ragnir wiped divine blood from his mouth, smirking. "You talk too much," Vyrex frowned, and then Ragnir threw Mjorthan with all his might, aiming straight for the Doomsday Cannon. A thunderclap shook the heavens as the hammer streaked toward its target, a celestial missile of raw power. But Vyrex moved in an instant, intercepting the attack. He caught the hammer midair, his cosmic gauntlet absorbing the impact. Lightning surged, but Vyrex held firm. Ragnir's eyes widened. Impossible. Vyrex twisted his grip and hurled Mjorthan back at Ragnir, sending the god crashing through the ruins of Azrime. A crater formed where he landed. Pain lanced through Ragnir's body. He coughed, struggling to rise, only to see Vyrex descending toward him, hands wreathed in violet energy. "It is pointless," Vyrex said. "You are outmatched." Ragnir gritted his teeth, forcing himself up. "Then I'll make my last stand count." The final war. Across the battlefield, his allies fought on. Panthera, his obsidian black armor cracked, dodged Venatrix's plasma daggers with feline precision. The cybernetic huntress was a blur, her movements enhanced beyond human limits. "You can't keep up, Panther King," she sneered. Panthera grinned, baring sharp canines. "I don't have to. I just have to slow you down." He activated his cloaking technology, vanishing mid-motion. Venatrix's cybernetic eyes flickered, scanning for his form. Too late. Panthera reappeared behind her, his vibrational claws stabbing into her neural core. Venatrix convulsed, her body locking up as her cybernetics failed. She collapsed, defeated. Shadewolf battled General Hellborn, the unstoppable juggernaut. Despite his wounds, the mutant fought like a beast, his adamantine claws tearing into Hellborn's armor, ripping through metal and flesh alike. "You don't stop," Hellborn growled. "Neither do you," Shadewolf panted. "So let's fix that." He gripped Hellborn's arm and twisted, driving both claws into the Warlord's power core. Hellborn screamed as his cybernetic enhancements overloaded, sparks flying. Then, his body collapsed, his systems shutting down permanently. Another enemy fallen. Vortex faced Ravenna Nocturne, Queen of the Abyss. The battlefield around them was a warping nightmare, a realm of shattered reality where time and space folded in on themselves. Ravenna floated effortlessly, her violet eyes burning with eldritch power. "You cannot stop this," she whispered. "The Abyss will claim everything." Vortex gritted his teeth, golden sigils flaring around him. "I've faced worse." Ravenna tilted her head, amused. "Have you?" With a gesture, she tore open a black vortex beneath his feet. Vortex fell, tumbling into the abyss, until he stopped himself mid-air, his hands weaving golden runes that anchored him to reality itself. He looked up at Ravenna, smirking. "Nice trick. Let me show you mine." With a snap of his fingers, he reversed the rift, and suddenly, Ravenna was the one being pulled into the abyss. She gasped, trying to resist, but the spell was too strong. For the first time, fear flickered in her eyes. "You." And then she was gone, consumed by her own abyssal rift. Vortex landed gracefully, dusting himself off. That was satisfying. The last storm, Ragnir stood before Vyrex, exhausted, battered but unbroken. The Doomsday Cannon was seconds from firing. "You cannot stop the inevitable," Vyrex said. Ragnir grinned, gripping Jorthan. "I was forged to stop monsters like you." And then he unleashed everything. Jorthan glowed brighter than a supernova, its divine power surging beyond all limits. The storm above ignited, and from the heavens a cosmic thunderbolt descended, the might of the gods themselves. Vyrex raised his gauntlet, but this time it wasn't enough. The lightning engulfed him, his armor cracking, his cosmic power overwhelmed. "No!" Vyrex screamed as the energy tore through him, reducing the tyrant to ash and light. The storm devoured the Doomsday Cannon, obliterating it completely, and with a final thunderous explosion, the Nexus Eternal was consumed in divine wrath. The light faded. The battlefield fell silent. Vyrex was gone. The war was over. Aftermath. As the dust settled, Ragnir stood among the ruins, Jorthan resting at his side. Vortex, Panthera, and Shadewolf approached, battered but alive. Panthera nodded. "It's done." Vortex exhaled. "I can't believe we survived that." Shadewolf smirked. "Speak for yourself." "I plan to survive." Ragnir looked to the heavens, the storm finally calming. The war had taken everything. Azraim was gone, but Varex's reign of terror was over. He turned to his allies. "The universe still needs protecting." Panthera grinned. "Then let's get to work." Ragnir smiled, gripping his hammer. The storm would rise again. The end. Epilogue. The darkness lingers. Somewhere in the depths of space, a black vortex pulsed. From within, a single figure stepped forth. Ravenna Nocturne. Her violet eyes burned brighter than before. Her power darker, stronger, more unstable. She looked upon the cosmos and smiled. This was only the beginning.